I really need to pee, but I'm using that as motivation to go ahead and start filming something. So I'll keep it quick, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about our old friend diet culture. And this is something I've spoken out about a lot, and I would like to be more of an advocate on, like, against diet culture, because I think, because I think it's so pervasive and so problematic, and not only does it lead to a lot eating disorders specifically, but it also can lead to other things that are a bit more subtle, like other mental illnesses. It can lead to orthorexia, disordered eating, low self-esteem, depression, anxiety, social anxiety. Like, the list is long. Even like suicidal ideation, I think it can play a part in, just because of how much it makes you hate yourself and feel like you're the problem, but you're not the problem. And it's trying to convince you, it's trying to serve you a problem that is within your control, quote unquote, within your control to change, which is your body and what you eat and how much you move. And it kind of boils all the problems back to that one singular problem, to try to convince you that there aren't other problems that need to be fixed, or even distract you from the existence of more positive things. Because here's the thing, companies don't thrive off of happy people. I think that's I think that's not really talked about enough. It's like, people that don't have problems don't feel the need to buy things to make them happy, or to change their situation. People who think that they have problems, which everybody does, everybody's got issues, but some of those things are out of our control. But I mean, it boils it down to this overly simplistic thing of, if you can control what you eat and how you look, then you can be successful in the eyes of society. And diet culture goes hand in hand with aggressive capitalism. And I'm not like altogether against capitalism. Like, that's a whole nother conversation. I think it's kind of up to those who are in power of how capitalism functions and works. And right now, it doesn't really function as it's truly meant to. And I don't think, given human nature, I don't know that it can ever exist in a way that's beneficial for most people. I think it's only beneficial for a select few, and those are the people who are profiting off of our misery, essentially. And diet culture is a very, very important tool in making money off of consumers. So I don't know, I think that's reason enough to get fired up about things. That's reason enough to dig in your heels and be like, no, I'm not. Like, you're just trying to sell me shit that I don't need. You're just trying to make me feel bad about myself so that I'll buy your shit. And you're trying to oversimplify the problem so that I ignore all the other problems that are out there, some things that are out of my control. Or you try to convince me that if I just lose 5 or 10 pounds, then I can be a happy participant in society. And I don't know. And that, when you break it down like that, you can see how problematic it is. And when you get it through your head that all this diet culture language and fat phobic language, all of that isn't really for your benefit, it's to take your money. It's literally to take your money, and it's also literally to solidify the white ideal above other groups, like other marginalized groups. The white ideal is something that you should strive for. You need to be thinner, you need to be taller, you need to have lighter skin. All of those things we've kind of somehow tied to being more successful and more worthy and having more value. And so a lot of it is just to perpetuate white supremacy. and make other marginalized groups feel like they're less than, which is, it should make you angry once you realize that. Like, it should make you fired up and pissed off, because that's not fair, and that's for the benefit of nobody other than the people that are at the top already. So that's on my own eating disorder journey. That's been a thing that I've really clung on to keep me motivated in times when it does feel really hard, because having an eating disorder does feel very like egocentric in a weird sort of way. Like you feel like you're obsessed with your appearance. Small things that happen to you suddenly feel very catastrophic. And your capacity to care for others goes way down when you have an eating disorder, when you're malnourished, when your brain's in starvation mode. Like, you are literally just trying to stay alive, and you don't have much of a capacity to be empathetic or sympathetic or compassionate towards other people. So your world is very small. Your world is very small with an eating disorder. And even with disordered eating or other mental illnesses that kind of handicap you in that way, your world gets small, and it becomes very much about you and your level of control over your life, even if it is like an illusion of control, because it's the eating disorder voice that's in control, and it'll take those bits and pieces from diet culture and its close relative, wellness culture. It'll take those little nuggets that it's getting from that sort of language and use it to fuel your own actions and urges and behaviors. And so it's really, really sinister in that way. And I don't think a lot of people recognize that. Like, yes, eating disorders and other mental illnesses are, there's a predisposition most often, but external environmental triggers play a role in that predisposition coming to the forefront. So, I mean, for me specifically, I must have been predisposed in some way to having an eating disorder or some sort of obsessive compulsive thing going on in my brain. But it took environmental factors like listening to wellness culture and diet culture and just societal pressure. It took those things to kind of trigger my brain to go into that mode. And once it went into that mode, it didn't really matter what caused it. Like, I was already there. I was already like laser focused in on this. And it sucks because it, like, so much of it is perpetuated by just our attitude towards success. Like, if you lose weight, it's deemed as a success. If you seem really disciplined about exercise, then you seem like you're in control and having a successful life. When really your relationships suffer, your body's hurting, your brain's not working properly, you lose motivation to do things that you actually care about. I mean, it's just, there's so many consequences that go along with an eating disorder, and those things that trigger an eating disorder can also trigger like symptoms of depression and anxiety, kind of in any situation. Just because you feel like shit, just because you think that you are unworthy or that you are a failure because of the discourse that's out there in the world and in society, and that's not cool. It's just so stupid, and I've gotten on this soapbox a lot to talk about it, but I just really wanted to get that point across, that that diet culture, wellness culture, this sort of obsessive attitude towards productivity and an emphasis on your appearance being tied to your success or your level of control in your life or your level of discipline. Like, all of that is bullshit. It's total bullshit. It's disguising, not even disguising, it's like a total red herring of what you should and shouldn't be focusing on in your life. And it creates a problem. Diet culture creates this problem. Capitalism creates the problems. so that it can sell you the solutions. And I think that's the main point I want to drive home here. And I am open to talking about this with anybody at any time. So, yeah, that's my rant, and I held in my pee, so I'm gonna go pee now.